Today I'd like to introduce you to the nomenclature of the cycloalkanes. Once you know how to name the alkanes, it's very easy to learn how to name the cycloalkanes. You'll notice that there is now a cyclo prefix that has been added to the alkane name that has the root that tells you how many carbons is present. In other words, this is a 4-carbon cycloalkane, so the root is bute, and we still have that ane suffix. When naming substituted cycloalkanes, it's important to first find the parent. This is done by counting carbons. For the molecule on the left, the cycloalkane is a C4 cyclic alkane, whereas the alkyl group is C3. Because the cycloalkane is larger, this is going to be named as a cyclobutane, and the propyl group will be a substituent. So this is propyl cyclobutane. It is not necessary to include a number in the name because we number the ring so that the substituent has the lowest possible number. When there's only one substituent, it has to occur at position 1. For the molecule on the right, I have a C3 cycloalkane and a C4 alkyl group. This is going to be named as a substituted butane. The substituent is cyclopropyl butane. Now I do have to include a number here because it would be possible for the cycloalkane to be attached either at position 1 or at position 2. So I do have to include that this is a 1 cyclopropyl butane. So what do you do when there are the same number of carbons in the alkyl group as there are in the cycloalkane? It turns out these are named as cycloalkanes, so this would be pentyl cyclopentane. And just like the alkanes, there are no spaces in these words. When you have multiple substituents on a ring, you number the ring so that the substituents have the lowest possible number. To do that in this case, we start at the methyl group, giving it position 1, and the bromo position 2. So portions of the name will be 1 methyl, 2 bromo, 4 ethyl, and cycloheptane. When I put it together, I put it in alphabetical order, so it'll be 2 bromo, 4 ethyl, 1 methyl, cycloheptane. Again, you'll notice that there are hyphens between the numbers and the letters. Because of the limited rotation around the carbon-carbon bonds of a cycloalkane, we have the possibility of geometric isomers. If the substituents are on the same side of the ring, they are referred to as cis. If they are on opposite sides of the ring, they're referred to as trans. Cis and trans isomers are geometric isomers. They're also referred to as stereoisomers. McMurray refers to isomers that have a cis-trans relationship as cis-trans isomers. I've not seen that terminology in any of the other organic chemistry textbooks that I use, and I use the term diastereomers. When naming this compound, I see that I have a methyl and an ethyl attached to a cyclobutane. Both substituents are pointing up, so that I know that cis is going to be a portion of the name. When numbering this cycloalkane, it's important to know whether you number the methyl group 1 and the ethyl group 2, or vice versa, the ethyl group 1 and the methyl group 2. Well, it turns out that nomenclature is determined by alphabetical order. The ethyl group is given the lower number because it starts with the letter E, which comes in the alphabet before the letter M. So this molecule is cis 1-ethyl 2-methyl cyclobutane. Pause the video and give these two structures a try. I'll give you the solutions in just a minute. Be sure to write out your answer, being careful with the use of commas, hyphens, spaces, and parentheses. When naming the first compound, I first need to determine which is larger, the cycloalkane or the straight chain alkane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a C6 alkane. I have a C5 cyclic group. Therefore, this is going to be named as a hexane. I need to number this so that the substituents have the lowest possible number. So I'm going to have 2-bromo as a portion of the name. And I'm going to have 3-cyclopentyl as a portion of the name. Putting that all together, I have 2-bromo alphabetized by the B, 3-cyclopentyl, alphabetized by the C, hexane. For the next compound, the larger portion is definitely the C6, so I know that cyclohexane is going to be a portion of the name. The side chain can be named a number of ways, but I think it's going to be easiest to name it as a dimethyl propyl group. So I'm going to have a 1,2 dimethyl attached to a propyl. And that's where parentheses are going to be helpful. Putting it all together, 1,2 dimethyl propyl cyclohexane. And again, acknowledging my references, I used McMurray's Power Lecture CD for some of the images in this presentation.